Okay, I see we received a few new registrations for this webinar, so I think we are ready to start now. All right, so again, we would like to welcome you to our webinar in 15 minutes to your email archive solution. My name is Christian Heselhaus, and I'm responsible for marketing and business development in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. But today I'm not alone. Right next to me is my colleague Thomas Stiegemann. Thomas.
Hi, my name is Thomas. Yeah, as Christian already mentioned, I'm the technical sales specialist here at Guava EMEA and responsible for all pre-sales technical questions regarding to our software.
Okay, good. So up front, I would like to provide some general information for this webinar. First of all participants will be in the listen-only mode. This means for questions, please use the chat window, which you have in your panel. Because time is short, we won't be able to answer the questions during the webinar, but we will take care of this afterwards. The webinar will be recorded, and we will share the presentation and the video download in our follow-up email, which you will receive shortly after the webinar today. So now it looks like we are ready to go. So let's have a look at the first topic we would like to discuss, which is the question, why do I need to archive? First of all, we need to mention the legal reasons why organizations have to archive. In many cases, it is all about compliance, which is a critical and very difficult topic because every country has its own rules and regulations, and it is even more relevant for multinational companies which have to consider international legislation. To make it short, in nearly every single country, email archiving is regulated by law, and this is important to know for you. Another legal reason is the email audit and Ediscovery function. This means, for example, if a tax authority wants to have access to your email, you have to make it happen somehow. So if you are not able to do this, you will have to pay penalties, for example. And yeah, last topic on this list, yeah, of course, email archiving protects you in lawsuits when you are able to provide email which might be requested by the court. So going to the next big topic, which are the economical reasons. These reasons are underestimated in many cases, but you can really save a lot of money by archiving email. For example, you can reduce storage and licensing costs, but also internal workflows and processes can be optimized very easily. Just think about this example. Someone in your office deleted a couple of emails and needs them back now. So what happens? First, he will contact the IT department, then he has to explain everything, and after this, the IT guy tries to find the deleted items in the Exchange backup, for example, and finally restores them. These are more or less daily processes in business, but they take time and they steal your time. I guess you agree that this kind of requests to your IT staff are painful and can take hours or sometimes even days. So by using an archiving solution, this problem can be solved in a couple of minutes because the user himself can easily access his archive, looks up the email and restores them with a single click on the mouse. And this is a process which might take just a minute. The protection of your company information is of course important as well, so you don't have the risk that you lose important data when people delete emails. And last topic on this list is some kind of a topic for the future, which is the multi-platform flexibility, which means that an archiving solution gives you the freedom of choice which email platform you want to use today or in the future. Maybe you're using Microsoft Exchange now and want to migrate to, for example, Office 365 in the future, or you're using Novell GroupWise and want to migrate to Exchange, or other way around, from Exchange to GroupWise. By archiving your email in an independent format, you can easily switch platforms and even migrate between these platforms. So somehow you can call it your exit strategy. And finally, there are technical reasons why archiving is important for you. First and foremost, archiving means that you will increase the mail server performance instantly by moving tons of your old emails to the archive. And thanks to the deduplication feature, you can reduce the amount of storage, for example, up to 60%. I think Thomas will explain this in detail afterwards. This leads logically to fast and optimized backups. So I personally think that these benefits of email archiving definitely show how important email archiving is to your organization. And honestly, there is a lot more value it brings to you. But the time is just too short to go through all details. With that said, it's time to have a quick look how you can archive your email. So I hand over to Thomas. Thomas, please move on.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. So first topic for me is how can I archive my emails and what do we support? So Retain is an archiving solution which supports Microsoft Exchange and Office 365, as well as Novell GroupWise and Google Apps. We can also archive different types of other messages like Microsoft Link, mobile messages from BlackBerry Enterprise Server and Android devices, Facebook and Twitter communication. All of these can be put together in your Retain archive. With that, we can be sure that you can be compliant and you have a secure archiving solution. We have powerful Ediscovery functions. You can search through all data, you can search through specific mailboxes, and even you can save searches and share them with your colleagues. All that is possible and easy to use. Yeah, with our deduplication, which is an single instance storage, which means a single attachment will always be only stored once on the Retain server. Doesn't matter in how many emails this attachment is linked. We only store it once, and so you can combine all your local GroupWise archives, the Exchange or Outlook PST files, all Exchange servers, and even the GroupWise post offices in one single storage. And all that is accessible via a web interface, which can be used on a tablet or a notebook, PC, wherever web browser is available. And there are also options to use it in a mail client, so in the GroupWise client and in the Outlook. Also, we can use the software can be used on-premise in your server infrastructure or in the cloud. We have Guava cloud partners who can provide you with archiving with Retain in the cloud. So that leads to the question, what are the system requirements for Retain? And they are very easy. So we need an operating system underneath, which can be Windows or SUSE Linux server edition. Then we need a storage. On the one side, local storage, local mounted SAN storage devices, or even warm devices like EMC Centera or NetApp with a SnapLock can be used. And we need a database, and that also is your choice. You can use a MySQL database, even the MySQL Community Edition, or an MS SQL, PostgreSQL, or a big Oracle database. So choose whatever you like and choose where you have the best knowledge in. And in this example, I will only talk about the system requirements for an Exchange server, but they are nearly similar for GroupWise. So we support versions from Exchange 2007 and higher. The interfaces that the rights that we use, wrong spelling here, is a mail right, the impersonation right, we reflect the delegation rights, and we use journaling mailboxes. And we use the Active Directory and the extended web services to connect to Exchange. So there are only IP connections. We don't install anything on the domain server or on the Exchange server directly. Here you see the architecture of a normal retain system. So this is a little bit a bigger system because on the left side, from the left to the right, on the left side you see 3 mail servers. That could be 3 Exchange servers or even 3 post offices of GroupWise. And then we have the man in the middle, which is a retain worker that grabs the data out of the post office or out of the Exchange and sends it to the retain server in the middle. And the worker is very nice because if you have a distributed system with more branches, then the worker will only create a code and send the code to the retain server, and then the retain server will give him feedback. Okay, this attachment is already on my disk, so I don't need it to get it again. So you can save bandwidth with it. The retain server then does the full text index, not only on the mail, also on the attachments, and stores it in the local storage and in the database. And on the right, the users and the administrator use the retain server to connect and to search and to retrieve their emails if they need some. Now we will have a look at the retain user interface. So this is how the retain user interface looks like. So you have your folder list, you see your emails, you can just check an email, forward an email, or even export it to PDF, which will include all the attachments of the email. And for Exchange, there is an easy restore button. So if you check a mail and restore the message, it will directly fully be restored in your system. With GroupWise, you can directly check it and forward it to yourself, and then it will also be in your mailbox and you can use it again. But there are other ways. We will have a retain Outlook plugin that will have the ability to search in retain from Outlook directly, and even to sync messages so that you have an amount of let's say 5,000 messages or whatever offline available, so that you can directly carry them with you on your notebook or whatever. And even with GroupWise, there is a function to add a search function directly in the GroupWise client, and then you can search in the external archive, as you see here, and then you get links to the messages back, and you can directly open them in GroupWise, work with them, forward them, and so on. So very easy to use even from GroupWise. Good. And then I will hand over back to Christian.
Yeah, thanks Thomas for nice insights into our solution. So many of you know that Exchange already contains archiving features, and also customers of us ask us, why do I need a third-party solution when Exchange already supports archiving? The answer is pretty easy. You need to understand that these features are only available in the Exchange Enterprise licensing, which are quite expensive, for example. But even more important is the fact that many important and valuable archiving features like email restore, deduplication, Ediscovery, etc. are not fully supported or not supported at all. And yeah, this makes the difference. Yeah, and just let us know if you need more details on this topic, and we are happy to provide you more information on this. But now let's have a look at the last part of this presentation. Let's talk about some customer scenarios. Remember at the beginning I mentioned that archiving is important because of legal reasons, economical reasons, and technical reasons. So we looked up some customer references which fit into these 3 topics. The first one is our customer from Austria, which is AOP, Orphan Pharmaceuticals AG. The pharmaceutical industry has really special legal requirements regarding IT compliance, which are very complicated and not easy to fulfill. AOP Pharmaceuticals found a solution with our product Retain, which meets their compliance needs. And yeah, there's a nice additional value here, and that is by using Retain, AOP was able to speed up the Exchange server by reducing a big amount of data. Let's have a look at Hoyer Finset from Norway, who is a big construction company there. For them, the flexibility of Retain paid off at the end. They decided to migrate the email platform towards Microsoft Exchange and were looking for the right tools to do so. And by using Retain, they were able to do the migration, the first step, and as a second step, they now benefit from all additional archiving features. So that way they got two solutions in one, which was migration and archiving. And finally, we have an example of a technical reason why archiving is important. The IT staff of the historical royal palaces takes care of various well-known spots in London, like the Tower of London, the Kensington Palace. I think it's the palace where Prince William and Kate lives in, as far as I know. So you can imagine that they have to take care of a lot of very critical and sensitive data, because Retain offers a very secure way to archive emails. That was for sure a reason for them why they have chosen Retain. But most important for them was the deduplication feature in Retain, which enabled them to reduce a significant amount of data in the messaging environment. There are many, many other examples how companies and organizations use Retain and why they use Retain. I'm sure many of you in this webinar have very different and specific needs. I can't guarantee, but I'm very confident that Retain is the answer to all, or let's say most of these needs. And yeah, this is the end. We are close to the end of this presentation, and yeah, we think, and we hope you agree now, we think archiving is essential to you and a must for every organization. More important, it is easy, which means the usage of an archive is easy for the email users, as you saw in the user interfaces. It's easy for the administrators, and also the implementation of the solution is pretty easy if you use Retain. In some cases, it didn't take longer than a couple of hours to set up and run the archiving solution. And by the way, it's much cheaper than you might think. With that said, please do not hesitate to contact us if you need more details, pricing information, product demo, etc. We are more than happy to hear from you. Shortly, as I mentioned at the beginning, you will get a follow-up email from us, which contains the link to the presentation and the recorded webinar. I see we are not really on time, 3 minutes. We extended it 3 minutes, but I think we did a good job on this. We hope you like this webinar, and thank you for your time. Have a great week. We say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.